As a young person, I was so obsessed with television that, so I grew up in Middle Cove, so people in St. John's area certainly know where Middle Cove is, and they certainly are familiar where the NTV studios are on Logie Bay Road. But when we were in town, Dad or Mom driving to Middle Cove, there's two ways to go. You go out Torbay Road or go out Logie Bay Road. And in those days, there wasn't much on Logie Bay Road at all. And you know, they would often say, which way do you want to go? And I'd always say Logie Bay Road, just so I could look at the satellite dishes as we drove by, just with my head up to the glass. Also, there was Honda Fun and Fast next door, and if I was good, maybe Dad might let me look at a mini bike or something. But I was so obsessed with the notion of television, and I just had all of these ideas like what goes on in that building. It was very exciting. And years later, you mentioned Geoff Stirling, your grandfather. Years later, he picked me up hitchhiking. A bunch of times, well, like at least 3, and that was back when young people hitchhiked, and when people picked up young people hitchhiking.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I had to crawl in the back seat on the floor of a sports car because he had papers and briefcases in the passenger seat of this little sports car. And another time he dropped me right at my house. Not just at the beach when he was going off to where his house was.
He loved meeting people. There's so many stories of hitchhikers or hanging out at a corner store and buying people's treats from him, which it all sounds a little sketchy nowadays. We're so much more defensive and kind of. But he did it with such kindness and openness.
I have a very embarrassing story.
All right.
I probably played. We all have gaps in our life. One of the gaps in my life is I never really learned how to play pool, and so I probably played pool like 3 times in my life. And I was in Bridget's pub one night, closing the pub, and I walk upstairs to see if anyone I know is up there, and there's no one up there. And Geoff Stirling is playing pool, and he says to me, "Do you want to play pool?" And I'm like, "It's Geoff Stirling." So I was like, "Yes." And then I broke, and it was like so evident that I had no idea what I was doing. And he was very kind about it, but we didn't have a lot of games of pool. We just had the one game.
You were dismissed.
But I literally, and I'm assuming he was a pretty good pool
He was good. I've played him hundreds of times in life.
So he played hundreds of times.
And he did not. I was 6 years old, and he'd wipe the floor with me. He was not one of those poppies that took it easy on you.
Right.
He beat me 21-0 in ping pong a few times in my youth. So.
Well, there you go.
When I finally beat him when he was age 88, it was a monumental occurrence in my life.
Did he ever play you after that?
Yeah, but I think we stopped keeping score. It would just be for fun. And he had this funny quote about pool, too. I remember missing an easy shot in front of him, and he leans over and goes, "Buddy, there's no other game in the world that makes you feel like such a clown when you miss an easy shot." That quote's always stayed with me.
So now I think he was incredibly kind to me. He actually finished the game.